Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Lisa, and you're listening to the Unshakable Living Show, where we help you be divinely and supernaturally unshakable. And remember, God can't steer a parked car, so get into motion in 2023 and build the future that you want to create. And I am beyond thrilled today to welcome my very special guest, Kim Harrison. Kim is an executive vice president with Unlimited Success Agency, which is part of the Five Rings Financial Organization. And Kim and her husband, Ron, have been instrumental in my life and my finances. And so, as we talk about God can't steer a parked car and that we need to be in momentum, that includes our finances and establishing a financial foundation as well. And so, Kim, would you take just a couple of minutes and introduce yourself a little bit more and then tell us, how can every single one of us build unshakable finances?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lisa, first for inviting me to be on your podcast. I'm very, very excited. Ever since I met you, I have been excited about us partnering and doing some stuff like this to help more and more people to become unshakable. So thank you so
Yes.
much. As she said, my name is Kim Harrison, and my husband and I have a business called the Unlimited Success Agency. We are part of the Five Rings Financial Organization that has been around since 2004, headquartered out of Denver, Colorado. And we decided to partner with them first part-time and then full-time when we built our agency in 2015, because we wanted to make sure that we could educate and support people in having strong financial knowledge. And Five Rings Financial leads with education. So we believe that people want to be taught, not told, what to do with their finances. And so having that opportunity to share that information with people was really appealing to us because we came from the educational background. My husband was a high school teacher and I was a high school academic coach. And so education really has been a major part of our life. I have two boys and two beautiful granddaughters and three beautiful grandchildren, and just am loving life right now and enjoying this beautiful spring. So I'm super excited to be here and talk a little bit about how to solidly place yourself in this financial world. A lot of information out there.
There is.
Get confused. And we like to start with the basics. Five Rings talks a little bit about what our basis is. How can we protect first what we grow our money? So protect what we're already doing. And second of all, how can we then grow it without a lot of risk? There's a lot of people out there that'll help you put your money at risk, but we help you grow and protect at the same time.
Yes.
So the basis, man. I mean, think about your finances as a financial house. Okay, you're going along, you're building your life. You have this lovely, like you're in that place where your income exceeds your expenses. Yeah, and you're in that spot. Then you're building some wealth, right? So you're thinking about things like having a strong savings. You're having you're maybe you're buying a house. You're putting some money into a 401k, a retirement plan at work, or you're building that yourself through your business, and you're having some additional assets. And that's fabulous. You've built this strong house and you're ready. Maybe putting some college savings away for your kids. You're doing all the right things, right? And what happens if something like a major medical issue happens that you don't have any control over? You know? What happens at that point, Lisa, we know is that our expenses go up and our income goes down. You know, 90% of people who have a heart attack survive that heart attack. Okay. But what happens then? Then they have a lot of expenses that they have to incur, and they have lower incomes, right? And that's really difficult. So I help with something called living benefits. It's the reason that my husband and I decided that we wanted to actually enter into the financial services arena in the first place, because when I heard about this, I thought, you know, why doesn't everybody know that living benefits exist? And then I looked around and said, well, maybe we're one of the people that need to start telling people about living benefits. Yeah, because then they can make up their own mind about whether or not it makes sense for them. So that's what I'd like to talk about, Lisa. I'd like to talk about living benefits, that foundational thing that you can put underneath your financial house and help you in case you have that event that you can't predict.
Yeah. Well, and Kim, as you know, I'm a huge fan of living benefits. I participate in it in multiple ways myself already. So I understand and really cherish the value provided by it. So yeah, let's go ahead and go into some detail and tell us, what is living benefits?
Awesome. Well, it's built with life insurance. It's actually a benefit of life insurance, and most people know what life insurance is. Most of us have it, or we have feelings about life insurance. But
Yes.
and life insurance is definitely, we know it's a foundational principle of our finances. If something happens to us and we pass away, well, we've left a legacy for our family and we protected them that way. But living benefits life insurance is a little bit different because it allows you to utilize that death benefit that you would get if you passed away while you're living, if you suffer one of those life events that could completely devastate your financial future. That's why I call it a foundational, unshakable tool that if you
Correct.
qualify, everyone from young people to up into the 70s year olds should have this if they want to have a strong foundation. Like when you build a house, right? Your foundation is that
Exactly.
it has to be strong.
Critical.
And if you don't,
Critical.
yeah, if you don't have a strong foundation, and even if you maybe, you've lived in a house for a long time. So I think about my women in their 50s, 60s, 70s.
Hmm.
You have to check that foundation for things. Maybe you don't have it. You can go back and shore it up to protect yourself from things like this. So the way this works is, let's just say that you had $1 million. I like to work in round numbers. We can take a zero off
Keep
if
it,
that's too
keep
much
the
for you.
math easy.
Yeah, keep the math easy. So if you have $1 million death benefit or face value on a life insurance policy with living benefits, and you had one of those events, let's say you were diagnosed with a terminal illness. That means that the doctor says you have less than 2 years to live. Like a friend of mine who is also an agent with 5 Rings in the Denver area, she talked to one of her very good girlfriends from high school, and her husband owned a construction company and they built high-end homes in the Denver area. And she understood living benefits and said, I want my husband to have these. And the husband first said, no, we don't need that. I'm in my 30s. I'm strong.
Yeah.
I'm healthy. I'm working hard. We don't need that. And she said, yes, dear, we do. I need that. I need to know that we have that in place.
Yes.
And so, he was smart enough to listen to his wife.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
got a living benefits plan. And about 8 months later, he was diagnosed with brain cancer, terminal brain
Oh,
cancer. And they had $1 million death benefit on him. Well, he was able to access up to almost 90% of that. So up to 90% of that, he got a check for $840,000 that he can do this with. He can use it for whatever he wants. He doesn't have to count that as income, neither towards
yeah.
his business or his personal, because it is not income. And it's tax-free that way. And it's an extremely important tool to have. He never has to pay it back. So what he did
Yes.
with that is he bought experimental treatment for himself.
Yes.
And he also paid off his house, so his family didn't have to worry about that. He set up legacy plans for his wife, and he also created college savings and plans for his children. And he lived another 3 years. And part of that is his wife attributes that to the lack of stress he had over worrying about finances and money while he was
Yes.
getting his affairs in order. So
Yeah.
that's one way that living benefits can provide a foundation for your financial house. And yeah, I mean, that just is a great story. Another way is what most of us think of when we think of things that destroy our financial house is a chronic illness, like
Yes.
attack, cancer, stroke, ALS, renal failure, loss of limb, loss of sight. Those things are going to take you a little while to recover from if that happens. And almost every single one of us knows somebody that has experienced
Yes.
that. You don't have to look very far to see a GoFundMe on that, right?
Yep.
I told you my husband was a high school teacher.
Yeah.
And he went to talk to a couple of his former students because that was really our mission when we started. We said, we want to make sure we get this information back to the students that he has taught who are now adults. We want to make sure they understood living benefits. And 2 of them were married and they had a 3-year-old daughter at the time. And they said, yes, we want living benefits for sure. And a few years later, we got a call from Sammy, or my husband did, and she said, can you explain that living benefits to me? And we thought, oh no. Because when we hear that, we know they've probably had a diagnosis, right?
Something's
There's
going
a
on.
right. And so Sammy had been diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, had to have a double mastectomy. She had a home-based business, and a daughter, and her husband had a good job with health insurance, but as we know, health insurance only covers a portion. She had to travel 10 hours round trip to get her treatment. And when she was going through radiation for her treatment, she needed to live in Salt Lake. So
Okay.
they had to get an Airbnb. All those expenses had to come from somewhere. And she had a smaller policy, and she was able to access $110,000. Again, tax-free, never has to pay it back, can be used for whatever she wants. So she used it for travel. They also used it for her to purchase a machine that allowed her to keep working in her home-based business. She used a press to make hats and T-shirts and things for her business.
Yeah.
And so she couldn't pull the handle down, because pulling that handle down, obviously, after you've had
surgery,
mastectomy and breast reconstruction and all the treatments she had. So she was able to buy one that had a push button on it so she could keep working throughout
hydraulic press. Yeah, that's fabulous.
Was good, but she went through that year and a half of hell that happens sometimes when a person has that diagnosis. She's just so grateful to us, and so was her husband, that we had visited with them about this. And my husband and I felt that day that if that was our last client, we'd be all right, because we knew that's what we did this for, was that, because we want to spread the message of what this is. And she's, I'm glad to say, she's doing very well. And
that's fabulous.
Yeah, she's cancer-free, living her life. And it was that bump in the road, right? That they could have lost her house. They could have had to move in with her parents. They didn't have to do that because they had living benefits. And that is like 75%, up to 75% of the face value for that. The third way is if you have a critical, like, think of the things that, it's not long-term care insurance, but like long-term care. If you can't do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, and my husband and I are getting up into that age where we think about things like that. Statistically, one of us will be living in a home before we pass away. We're going to some type of skilled nursing. It's going to be him. I'm 100% sure. But it might be me. I'm 99% sure. It might be me. And we both have had these conversations that neither one of us wants to be in a situation where we have to take care of the other one that way. We want to, not because of finances, if you understand.
Right. I do. It's the dignity. It's retaining your dignity. Yeah.
We watched my mother-in-law really hurt her own health by taking care of my father-in-law a little bit longer than we wanted her to, just because she was a little worried about money, right? So in a situation like this, that $1 million reserve I was talking to you about, you can access 2%, in that case, $20,000 per month for 52 months. When you're in a facility, or even if you wanted to bring someone into your home to take care of you. Yeah, and it's not just older people that happens to. That happens to young people too, with accidents. Craig Rehabilitation Hospital is in Denver, Colorado.
Yep.
The average age of their patient there who's recovering from brain trauma is like 38 years old or 36 years old. It happens to anyone at any age.
Yeah. The 2 people that I know of that have gone there were both in their early 20s.
Yes. And they do amazing things there, but that's a pretty pricey place to be. And so having that ability to have that foundation under you in case that happens, you get in a major accident or something. We knew a young man who got in a snowmobile accident. And he's in there for several months. And he's doing wonderfully now. But it was very expensive for the family. So, and then of course, death, it works just like life insurance. That's 100% of that. But we feel so strongly about this because we actually have it for ourselves. That was the first thing we did, is we made sure that we exchanged our death only life insurance for living benefits life insurance. All of our kids have it. All of our grandkids have it, because we want to provide not only the foundation for ourselves, but for our children. And
Yes.
it's a little selfish on one side too, because if something happened to one of my grandkids or one of my boys or their wives, we
Yes.
we would devastate our financial house too. We would give them all of our savings,
Whatever it takes.
all our retirement. Absolutely, because family is everything when it comes
It
to that.
is. Yep.
We don't even think about it. It'd probably be easier for us to do it for we wouldn't even want them to ruin their finances if we could help. But that,
Correct.
so by providing that foundation for them, we sleep well at night,
Yeah.
knowing our entire family has that unshakable foundation built underneath their finances if the unexpected happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we just can't predict that. We can't, and those are things that I think if we know about them, then we can decide if that makes sense for us. A lot of companies offer something similar, maybe on especially on a permanent life insurance policy where you can grow cash value in that. We can offer
Yeah.
it that way as
Uh-huh.
well to provide some security. We also offer this, though. We work with companies that offer it on the term policies. So that makes it more affordable for anyone,
Yeah.
for anyone over the age of 18. And so that's really, when you first asked me to be on your podcast, I said, oh, this is the thing that is the
Yes.
most unshakable thing you can do for your finances, is to put a great big foundation of living benefits underneath that house you're building so that you're ready in case something like this happens. So.
Yeah. And as you know, Kim, my home insurance, or mortgage insurance is a living benefits policy. And
Exactly.
so it's just yet another application for this tool, this amazing tool.
100%, because if something happened to you, Lisa, and for some reason you weren't able to make that mortgage payment, you're not going to lose your
I
house, right?
do.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, as you've already said, it's like my husband's not gonna lose the house if something happens and I actually pass away, but more likely is if I am chronically ill or chronically injured, that money is there for us to tap into. So
100%.
talk about peace of mind.
No kidding. And yeah, and in business preservation too, that first example I gave you about that
Hmm.
the couple in Denver, they bought that through it was a key man insurance policy for his
Yes.
company, because
Yep.
he was the owner of the company, and without
Hmm.
him it wouldn't continue to work. So having that on partnerships and companies is a giant benefit. Can continue to keep your small business or your large business running smoothly
Correct.
while you're recuperating, and you don't have to worry about hiring someone. You can pay
Yeah.
for hire someone or to help dissolve the business if necessary in the case.
Yeah.
um, so yeah.
Yeah. And so let's talk just a little bit about when should someone purchase their first living benefits policy? How old do you have to be? And you and I know that this is a little bit of a loaded question because all of our grandkids are protected. So
Right.
how does somebody get started?
Okay. So as I think I always get the day wrong. It's like just a few days old.
Hmm. Hmm.
Once a child is born, they can have a living benefits plan, and that puts in place that foundation from the very beginning. And there's some other options that and great benefits to have putting that under a child. I have a 15-year-old niece who was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and
Hmm.
so having insurance on a child early is you secure them for life with insurance. So as a grandma, that was important to me. So
Yeah.
early in life. But I believe at any age, my son, as soon as he was like 15 years old when my mother bought him a living benefits plan, and also an opportunity for him to grow some money for college savings and
Yes.
business savings. In fact, he's just utilizing some of that right now because he's to do some improvements on his home that he just purchased.
Oh,
So
very
it
good.
works really well for them. But I believe as young as 18, you can have a permanent policy, but the term policies at any age. Up
Mm-hmm.
to, I believe, it depends on our carrier. Some of them will go as high as 85, but so there's a wide range there. I have clients that have as soon as they heard about it, when they were in their 50s or 60s, they said, I need to have that if I can qualify.
Yes.
There is qualifications because it is life
Mm-hmm.
insurance, so we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about that, and we can give you a quick estimate of what that would add to your monthly expenditures towards putting that foundation under your financial house.
Great.
And people are usually surprised because it's oftentimes lower than their death only plans, right? Some people
Yes.
can say, like, I have insurance at work, I don't need this, but
Mm-hmm.
adding a little additional plan really makes a difference to some people too. So we never tell people how to do this because, your finances are personal. You have to decide
Yes.
what makes sense for you. And I realize that everyone has financial limitations too, in some respect. How what makes sense to you. We only work with people that are that resonate with us on this. This
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to
Mm-hmm.
them. And
Yeah.
our job is just to spread the word. Like, I feel like I am just, if I can tell as many people as possible, you tell me if this makes sense to you. It's not my job to tell anybody what to do.
Yeah. No, that's great.
We're all responsible, right, for our own unshakable future, right? And we know what makes sense. It does make me sad when I hear about people starting to GoFundMe when I know that um, this would have really helped them. But that's
So Kim, if somebody wanted to reach out to you and get some more information, how can they contact you?
Well, you can call me. I love to just chat or text me at 970-812-6619. I also, you can send me an email at kimharrison@fiveringsfinancial.com. And we have a great website that has a lot
Awesome.
more details about this, as well as some other things. There's some great videos on there, some stories like I just told you. And you can reach
Mm-hmm.
out to us there, and you can book an appointment with us or ask, just to chat with us on phone or Zoom. We meet with people
Yeah.
all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And that address is livingbenefitsexperts.com/USA. Living
Say that one more time. Yep.
livingbenefitsexperts.com/USA.
USA.
And the
Very
USA
good.
is for Unlimited Success Agency. So there's a lot of great information there for you. And Lisa, I'm just thrilled that you invited me, because the more people we can reach with the more unshakable we can help them to be in because finances is a scary thing for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
we want people to sleep well at night and live a nice full life. So putting these type of tools in place allows them to not have to worry about that stuff so much. I can't tell you the peace of mind I have sometimes when just knowing that we have these available in my family in case those really bad things happen. So
Yeah. No, it's really true. It's really true. And so how does living benefits protect you not only from an insurance standpoint, but like from stock market volatility and investment? I think of my policy as an investment. I am building cash value as well as protecting
right.
my mortgage insurance. And I know, from having lived as long as we have, the ups and downs, the volatility, but
Mm.
we're protected. We're insulated from that. Talk about that for just a minute.
Sure. Like I mentioned, you can have living benefits on a term policy, which is just almost like renting. So it means that
Mhm.
you have the living benefits protection and the death benefit protection for a certain period of time. That's one way that we can do this. And the other way is kind of what you're talking about, is you can have it on a permanent policy where you can actually grow cash through a life insurance product. So you can actually grow money that way. You can fund additional money that you can use as a savings plan. Uh,
Mhm.
as you said, you're using it as an investment. We can't call it investment because
Right.
it's not technically an investment, but it's a way to utilize to grow money without the risk of losing it in the stock market. Because your the products that we use are aligned to their credited based on what the market does. So it's a way to passively participate in the stock market without worrying about any of those losses. Because let's say the market goes up 8% in a year. You're going to be credited that 8% based on that for that year. Let's say the market goes down 12% the next year. Have we seen that happen? We went down, I think it was 19, 22%, something like that last year.
Right.
You would not lose in this type of a product. Your money would stay flat. You would get no gain that year. And that doesn't sound sexy, but I'll tell you what.
It's huge.
It's huge when you're not having to fight back from loss. And so at least 3 out of 10 years, that's zero is your hero in this type of situation. Now, let's say that the next year that the market went up 22%. I mean, that would be amazing, but let's say, well, because it has a zero floor, these products also have a ceiling. And so let's say it's 12% on this particular product. So 12%. So you'd get 12%. So you wouldn't get the full up, you'd lose some percentage of the growth. But most of our clients love it just for this reason. You give up some of the upside potential of the market to never have to fight back from that loss, right? And that ceiling is the not too good to be true line, right? That's the line that says, this is a viable product. Wealthy people have been using tools like this in their portfolios for a very long time. They work very well for middle Americans also, but a lot of us don't understand how they work. Again, Five Rings Financial wants to educate. We make sure you know exactly what this is and how it works, because that's when it gets scary. It gets scary for us and shakes us up a bit when we don't understand why we have it and what it can do for us, right? So it's an awesome tool to add as some people use it just as their sole way of growing their finances. Other people use it as an alternative. This is the money they don't want to lose. I oftentimes ask my real estate investors, I have a couple of real estate investor friends, and they bring people to me all the time, and I say, well, this would be perfect. How much money do you want to make sure you're protected that you can't lose? Right? The rest of it's market, you never know what's going to happen. Do you realize that in 2008 or 2007, there was no such thing as a Walmart greeter? That was created after a 2008 crash because so many people who had saved for so long to retire lost 30 to 50% of their life savings virtually overnight. And they had to go back
I did not realize that was the trigger. No, I had no idea of that.
So jobs were created for older people. Walmart created those jobs because and other companies did things like that too, because so many people needed to come back in the market and make a little bit of money. Now we've got Uber drivers, and we've just experienced. Who knows what will be created? But we want dignity with finances, right? And if we can help just a few families do that, that's our goal, so awesome tools that
great
with that are, like I said, protection and then growth without loss.
How about workshops, educational opportunities, network events? We offer a Money 101 workshop. It talks a little bit about what I just told you about living benefits and some details about money, things that you maybe didn't know, like the time value of money. Also how compound interest works, how it can work for you and against you. It's really concise. It's about a 35-40 minute class, and we offer it virtually. Because that's the easiest for most people. We have at least one every week virtual, like a live virtual. I also have recorded classes of that. So that's always free. Never have to pay anything to attend any of these classes. All of our information is free. To sit down with us is free. We also offer a couple of classes too, like we offer Money Mommy and Me and Wine Women and Wealth. Wine Women and Wealth is my favorite because me too.
It was the way I found Five Rings in the first place. I was marketing starting my own business, and I was marketing my business, and I wanted to find women to work with. And so I went to Wine Women and Wealth. And Wine Women and Wealth is an educational event. So you're going to learn about something about finances, maybe something like what I just talked about, or sometimes we talk about the mindset of money, because
Yeah.
we have things we put in our heads about money that our parents taught us, that we learned in school, stories we've told ourselves that may not be serving us. So we talk about
Correct.
the mindset of money.
Yeah.
And we do it in a really fun and wonderful environment where we give you a chance to have a little bit of wine, a little bit of food, and a little bit of networking opportunities. So you can, if you own a business, you can, or work for a business or company, you can come and talk about that and make great connections with other women who are very interested in money as well, and having a great relationship with money. A lot of us, some people don't, and that really
Yeah.
surprises me. So that's my goal, is to help women have a great relationship with money.
Correct.
And you also, some women just come because they want to meet some really cool people, and they do that too. They may not have a business; they just are maybe a grandma that wants to get out of the house, or now that we're all working from Zoom from home in our spare bedrooms,
Correct.
it's nice to actually be around people and socialize.
Yeah.
So women come, again, never a charge for that. It's not a membership. It's a come when you want to. And you can learn a little bit. And the Money Mommy and Me is to help raise money savvy kids. And I love that class as well. I will tell you too that I'm living here in the Treasure Valley with you of Idaho, and I'm expanding here in this area because there aren't enough people like me. I'm looking for those people that were just like Ron and I, who said, wow, I never heard of this. I didn't know we could do it this way. I didn't know there was such a need for financial education, especially for women. There's 300,000 women in this valley that do not feel good about money. They feel disempowered. That's a stat that I found based on the population and some other stats. So I made that up, but I made it up off some data. But I'm like, 300,000 women need to feel good about money, and they don't. How can I help? I can't do that by myself. So I'm always looking for other women, particularly, men as well, but women who would be really interested in helping me and partnering with me to make that happen. So I offer a little Sunday workshop called Why Not Work With Us, every Sunday afternoon on Zoom like this.
Very good. Very
So
good.
if someone is interested in learning more about how they can partner with me, either joining me as a business partner with my Unlimited Success Agency, or partnering with me with their own business to bring this information to more people, I'd love to have a chat with you about that. So
well, and we're talking about the Treasure Valley, which for listeners not in Idaho is Boise, Idaho. But Kim, you work with people all over the country.
Everywhere.
It's all virtual. You are not limited. There's Wine Women and Wealth events happening all over the country.
Yes, ma'am.
Expand that footprint just a little bit for us.
You have a wide audience, and I love that. Yes. I moved here in 2019 to the Treasure Valley of Idaho. I was in Colorado prior to that. And we also have, Five Rings Financial has we're coast to coast. So on any given evening, there's probably 10 to 12 Wine Women and Wealth. And like I said, there's a virtual Money 101 every night. And in some markets, there's actually live money workshops. We can reach and communicate with everyone. Zoom has opened things up to us. We were already doing Zoom prior to 2020, but Zoom has made it easy for most people now. They understand the concept of doing business online.
Virtual.
We can meet you anywhere at any time, and it allows us our reach to be broader. We are licensed in multiple states, and I also can send you. So if you live in Virginia, for example, just let me know, send me a message, and I can let you know where there's a Wine Women and Wealth in your area, or if there's one. And also we can, I can always send you, no matter where you are, I can send you a link to a money workshop, so you can get this information at any time. I love it now too, because sometimes I'm a night owl, and I like to sometimes be, when in the evening, I like to watch things. And I know some people, after they put the kids to bed, they want to sit down And then they have that 30 minutes to listen to something that and learn a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
again with their spouse or their business partner and say, what do you think about this? And then we can answer your questions this way. So yeah, I work with people all
Yep.
over the country. Yeah.
Well, and as you know, the name of my business is Women Empowered for Life. And without solid finances, without a solid foundation, we are not as empowered as we can be. And I'm going to go as far as saying as we ought to be. It is truly up to every one of us, whether you're married or single, to take responsibility for your own future, to take responsibility for your own finances, to educate yourself. So, again, I'm so appreciative of Kim coming on with me today. And again, as a life coach, what I help people work with is mindset also, and overcoming limiting beliefs and money blocks. And so either one of us are more than happy to have a one-on-one personal conversation with you. So Kim, give us your contact information one more time as we wrap up for today.
My number is 970-812-6619. My email is kimharrison@5ringsfinancial.com. And my website is livingbenefitsexperts.com/USA.
Great. Thank you so much. And I think we're going to have you come back and do this again, because there's just a few things I would have liked to have touched on that we didn't have time for today. So we'll get you teed up again here in a couple of months.
I would love to, especially let's talk about that empowering women. That's my jam too.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The statistics, and I know we don't have time to go into it now, but just the statistics of women that end up in a difficult financial situation unexpectedly are just too high. We need to change that.
And
so
we are changing it. You're changing it. Thank you for
yes.
empowering women with what you
Yeah.
do. So I just love what you're doing. You're so
Thanks.
awesome.
Oh, well, so are you, Kim. It is a mutual admiration. So, all right, everybody, we're going to wrap up for today. But just remember, you are empowered and you are unshakable. So step into your power, step into your momentum, and go build the future that you want to see. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.